Hi, friends. There is a 16-day movement going on to unite and fight for the elimination of violence against women. I think this is absolutely necessary for every one of us to observe because if we look at the statistics, take an example of domestic violence in India. 3 women every single minute become a victim of domestic violence. There are about 87 cases of rape recorded each day, which means one girl or woman every 15 minutes become a victim of rape. There are about 18 deaths recorded every single day related to dowry system. And there are cyber crimes, abductions, acid attacks, etc. The list goes on. There is a 30% chances for every woman of being abused in her lifetime. 30% chances. That is scary. And 1 in 3 women is at risk of being abused in her lifetime. These stats are really scary. It's just not in our country. Globally, they are not looking good. They are more or less same. We have been given multiple solutions to address this problem. If you observe carefully, almost all these problems are based on 4 fundamental values: education, independence, liberty, and equality. On the surface, it appears like if we accept, embrace, and implement these values, we'll be able to solve the problem very effectively. Is it true though? Let's analyze this issue in a different angle. Take an example of education. In last 30 years, education levels have gone up without doubt in our country and globally as well. At the same time, the crime and abuse on women has also gone up. If education solves the problem, it should help the crime, it should help to decrease the crime rate. But it didn't. It appears like education levels have no impact on the growing crime against women. Even if you look at the statistics that I have just mentioned, most of the abusers are educated. Most of the cases of sexual harassment, mental abuse, and physical abuse even are recorded from well-educated, from the organizations, from the companies where well-educated people work, like IT companies, accounting firms, management firms, call centers, government organizations, political organizations even. All these people are educated, but they are still involved in the crime. I'm not saying education is not important. I'm saying there is a gap in education that needs to be filled, that will actually help address these problems as well. One interesting example is in our country, higher the education, higher the expectation for dowry, which means oppression on another level. So this is the mindset. We are using now education as a tool to oppress women. Now let's look at the other 3 values that are aggressively campaigned: independence, liberty, and equality. I agree that these are very important values for a progressive society. But in this particular case, are they solving the problem of violence against women? We have campaigned these values, implemented these values, educated people on these values. Still, the crime and abuse against women kept growing. We are accepting these values, but the crime is also growing. If these values help us decrease the crime against women, as we embrace these values, implement these values, they should help decrease the crime as well. We haven't seen that kind of effect taking place in society. Of course, these values have helped women come out of their homes, compete with women, compete with men, become independent, and enjoy freedom. All are very important, but they fail to look at the other side of the spectrum, which is creating honor, respect, compassion, and empathy for women. In women, so what I mean is the statistics that I have been talking about, the criminals are not always men. they are women as well. This is actually true in case of domestic violence and also workplace harassment. Women abuse other women as well. So in a way, freedom and independence brought arrogance as well. That needs to be balanced. Arrogance in women and men as well, because these values are important for men too. So that needs to be addressed. There is a gap. Again, these values are very important, but they need to be balanced. How can we create that balance? How can we fill this gap in education? Is there a better and more effective solution that we can implement individually and in society as well? In my opinion, this is more of a moral issue than a social issue. That's why we need to solve this problem through moral and spiritual education. As Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan, one of the renowned philosophers and President of India, states, education that does not bring character transformation, character change, character reformation in a student is waste of time. That is the gap which is missing in our education system. We don't talk about morality or spirituality at all. We don't have moral and spiritual classes. Even though we do, they have been given very low priority, which is even more dangerous than not conducting a class at all. Because if you have a class in curriculum and give low priority, you're actually telling a student that spirituality and morality has a very small role to play in life. That's what exactly happening. That's why we are unable to solve these problems despite growing levels of education, freedom, independence, and equality. As Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan states, knowledge without wisdom can lead to severe consequences. It is like you gave a gun to someone who has no ethical, moral, and legal boundaries. He would use it for all the selfish purposes to oppress people. So through education, independence, freedom, and equality, we are giving that power to people, but we are not balancing it out with morality and spirituality. We fail to look at the other side of the spectrum. That balance, we're losing that balance. That's why even women oppress other women today. Men oppress women today. Men oppress other men today. The crime is growing. The power and freedom is giving away, actually, in a way, encouraging to commit more crime, directly or indirectly so. That's why spiritual education is really important. When I talk about spiritual education, I'm not talking about ritualistic, illogical, irrational, superstitious oriented spirituality that is out there. I'm talking about the spirituality in its real essence, whose true purpose is to bring character reformation in individual. The spirituality that connects us with the supreme reality, supreme creator, supreme values such as love, compassion, care, empathy, and the spirituality that connected with our deeper inner self, to bring self-awareness, to bring self-realization, to make us understand the importance of these supreme values, to make us understand the effects, the impact of the negative emotions in life like lust, greed, jealousy, hatred. We don't talk about these values at all. We have no awareness on how to manage these negative emotions and embrace the supreme values. As Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan stated, there is a supreme energy inside us, the supreme values that are inside it, which actually means we can rise above and beyond our current state on a moral and spiritual scale. And I think we should strive to grow above and beyond our current state, which is not looking good, especially seeing those statistics on the violence against women. The crime rate, overall crime rate, not only against women, but overall crime rate has also been growing has grown significantly in last 50 years. So when we develop this self-realization through spiritual education, we'll be able to grow above and beyond our current state to walk towards fulfillment, real happiness in life that would also create a balance between the power and the values. That will make me a better individual every single day, that will eventually reflect on the society and will be able to create a healthy, happier, fulfilled society. And a fulfilled society will have very low crime rate. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day.